to another 5-star edition of Props to Consider and Then Maybe Bet. I am your host. I am the paragon of virtue. I am Lou Betcha, celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this very show with my guy, one of the originators in props, one of the original people I've worked with in this space, my friend Mike, Couch Warrior Pod, who is, I know, obsessing about something in his life right now, and it's driving him insane. Mike, how are you doing on this glorious Wednesday night?
I'm doing good. I am going crazy on the inside. Got some stuff going on in life, but it actually helps a lot to do content, and it helps a lot to be talking fights. That's literally my favorite thing to do. So always down, and one of my favorite people to do it with, Lou. I was literally the first person down to do a show with me. Shout out to the to the
Elevator.
The elevator.
Out of here.
But yeah, I'm hyped to be here, man. It's such a good card.
Well, a year later, and somehow, despite several people making horrible comments that should have gotten me thrown off YouTube that were surprisingly not me, we're still here. And I'd like to thank each and every person that has been a guest on the show over the year. I'd like to thank Mike especially for taking over in my absentia and then saying he didn't have time and dragging me back out of retirement to keep the show going.
I got you guys.
And then I want to thank all the people that have supported the show throughout the year that I've been doing it. And a final thanks, not just to the team at the MMA Engine, but a very, very special thanks to Monk, who without him, I'm not on the air in the first place. And he found me a space for me to be an insane human being, which I have parlayed into the mega stardom that you see today. Now, all that being out of the way, before we get to the props, I want to make an announcement that Mike doesn't know. In fact, only Breeden knows this, and maybe Dan Levy. But at the end of the year, something has happened to a few people in this community, something that happened to me personally the year before, but like Jenna Marie, Wheezy, a lot of people that I care about in the space have lost their dog, in my case, my cat. And like, it's horrible. Like, and there's so many good people in this community that are animal lovers that when we get to the end of the year, I think the last card is the 13th, that week, I am trying to organize a charity drive. Like an end of the year capper review, like everybody gets 5 minutes, one of these kind of things. I'll host it, like go over results, what you learned, all sorts of, fun shit, however long it lasts. But what I'm going to do is working out the details, but I want to do like a GoFundMe or something for like a couple of animal charities if I can. I think that's a cause that a lot of us in the space, Mike being a pet dad himself, I think a lot of people can get behind that. So yeah, I know like Levy, Wheezy, Jenna Marie, I think would all, Fight Talk Only is another one of our buddies. Like, so, and without unfortunately, without my sweet Lulu passing away several years ago, I wouldn't even have gotten to be friends with Wheezy and spawned all this nonsense that I'm doing each and every week for you jabronis out there. So maybe it's a way we can give back, and I'd be happy to organize it. And I think that anybody that hates that, obviously there's a little bit of sensitivity holding money in the community. So that's the part I'm betting. Well, that's why I don't want anything to do with the money. I just want to host the show. But anyway, just a quick shout out to the chat. We got Mushroom here. He came with the channel. He was here, I think, when I created this thing yesterday. We got Kristen here. We got Jenna Marie. We got Matthew Chalk in the house. We got my guy Juicy Q, the master of fun. And Mike's gone. And we lost Mike. There he is. And Juicy Q, the master of finding props on BetMGM. All right. Enough of that crap for me. You're here for props. I'm here to give you props. So is Mike. We're going to do 4 props each on this card, then talk about the main event, finish with the Yam Bag special. Mike, you ready?
I'm always ready, Lou.
I don't know Mike's props. I just know the fights he picked. I also know that I am not going to be picking a Mike Breeden prop, except for the one that I have written down. That Wiz kind of told me I should troll you on this one, but I have a fun prop for that. It's not out yet, but I have a fun prop for that. So Couch Warrior, take it away, my friend. What's your first prop to consider, and then maybe bet?
Do you care about fight order, or just whatever I have written down first is cool?
I don't give a shit. There's no rules here. You ran the show. There's no rules.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so I actually like this one a lot, and it's a round prop. So I don't normally have much confidence on round props, but Aliskerov round 2 is pretty solid in my opinion, and also the price, at least on DraftKings today, I got plus 450. I don't know if you can still get that. I think plus 340 is solid too. I just, the more times I played out in my head, I think that's when it ends. Warley Alves is an animal in the first round, and low key, I think he could win this fight if he had more cardio, but he doesn't. And I think he's going to fall off and get finished. Sprinkle round 3, but the prop's going to be round 2.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I like that so much too. I actually looked at the Alves round 1 because I'm like, all right, that feels like his win condition. And round 1 KO on one of my books is plus 1,900. And I was like, man, I mean, look, Alscarov's one loss. Like, obviously, he's not fighting Khamzat. But still, he got hit with a clean shot and got dropped. So we don't really know if he has a great chin or not. Like, it hasn't been tested except for one of the greats. So I wonder if Alves can get him, but I'm with you. I think that, and I also think the grappling is in play here a lot too with Alscarov. Like, he could get him down, kind of wear him out, maybe take him into the second round. I think by that point, Alves would be totally gassed. He looked tired as shit against Dalby.
He looked like he was dying.
Yeah, and Dalby just can't finish anybody. But all right, let's see what I want to get to first. We're both covering that fight, so I don't want to. Let's get the Breeden one out of the way. Let's get the Breeden Juble fight out of the way. Now, I want to make this clear. I know the whole community is on Breeden right now, and I don't really love the Juble side in this. More for me that I don't like betting unproven guys at a big number. But at the same time, I also don't like betting guys that got knocked the fuck out 2 months ago that are coming back. It's not like Juble's some like big power puncher, but I still don't like it. You want that 6-month break. The thing is I don't know that Juble finishes Breeden. I think Juble can have success in the wrestling. I don't know that I trust Juble's cardio. Breeden's like oddly kind of okay in the third round. Like, even against Levy, he was all right. I think this fight goes a distance at a pretty decent clip, a surprisingly high clip. So if I think it's going to go the distance, I got to take a look at these split decision props, man. They're not out yet on DraftKings, but for a total, I think what was the fight goes? Isn't it like plus 110? Or it's about even money?
Yeah, it's close to that.
Okay, so the split's probably going to be around plus 550, just a split. And then Breeden's split will probably be 1,400. Juble's split will probably be 850 range. I'm guessing. Like, my experience of betting these stupid splits. But I just think if it's a fight that's going to go the distance a lot of times, and it's a guy who I don't trust his durability versus a guy where I don't really know his cardio, I'm tempted to do the split decision. I'm not hopping. If you got Breeden at like whatever crazy number that, some people got him at, good for you. I don't like this number for him. I just don't like him getting knocked. I really don't like somebody coming back, especially when you're like, why'd they bring him back? They brought him back to die after just getting knocked out. They fed him to McKinney to die, and they're like, you didn't die enough. Like, now we're just, in wrestling, we would have called this the jobber to the stars. So I know a lot of guys are on him, and I get it. I'm just going to probably pass except for the prop angle. So I know you have a lot on Juble if you want to talk about it before you get to your next prop.
I would love to, because, man, I don't get it.
You're taking abuse. You're taking a lot of abuse.
Hey, and I could care less, because you know what? What happened a few weeks ago when I got reverse CLV'd on a max bet on Dylan Butka coming in on short notice? The entire world started betting the other way. Chad Hanekom all the way up until the fight started. Butka flips the line. I'm over here thinking, what did I do to myself? But I stuck with it, and it hit. And you know what? I have a read. I have an opinion, and I'm extremely confident in it, and I'm going to sit into it, because you have to. If you feel you have an edge, you sit into it. Do I have an edge with the line? Really? No. Honestly, I played a line that was accurate, so did I really get value? No. Now the line's way better. Kicking myself, kind of want to add, but I've already got a big stake. Look, in terms of the fight, though, what is Breeden going to do? Like, realistically, what is he going to do? I'm hearing people like someone talking about the wrestling possibly, right? Because he's like, oh, Kim on Road to UFC took him down. First of all, Kim is big. He's a big boy, much bigger than Breeden. He's also a better fighter than Breeden. And not only did he took him down 4 times, but you know how long he controlled him for, Lou? He controlled him for 35 seconds. Breeden is not.
But what a 35 seconds.
What'd you say?
But what a 35 seconds.
Yeah, what a 35
No, I'm just kidding.
seconds.
Very uneventful. These are the
But
split props, by the way. It's a decent guess.
I just don't think we're going to get there. I do think Juble finishes, and if he doesn't, I think he just wins 30-27. All Breeden has, in my opinion, is that dog in him, which is great and all, but Juble has it too, and he's got a great output. I think
Before we move
Juble's
on,
more technical, bigger. Sorry, Lou. I just
that's
have
right.
to.
I know.
And look, if Natan Levy's taking you down that many times, I know that he couldn't hold him down for anything, but Juble's much bigger, much more physical. I think he's going to take him down with ease if he chooses to do that. And I'll end there.
All I wanted to ask before we move on to your next prop is, did you have a bet on Jaka against him, or did you bet Juble in that one?
Hell no. I had like 3 units on Juble.
Okay. I had a bet on Jaka, and I think that I'm just saying, I think a lot of people that bet Jaka, myself included, this is almost like a revenge, like it's like a revenge bet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I feel that.
So Mr. Jingle's saying Breeden round 3. Just so you know, it's plus 2,200. I looked at everything.
When have we seen Juble gas, though? Even against Kim, he wasn't gassing.
The problem I have is, like, if Breeden's getting chucked down a lot and controlled, even if Juble gasses, is Breeden going to really be much better? My whole thing here is, like, I think Breeden can win round 1 at a higher clip than his odds in either round. As the fight goes on, I think I trust Juble a little more because I trust Juble to actually have top control. But that's why I like the splits here. But we'll see. So anyway, that's just your hot button fight of the week.
Very hot button.
But the other hot button fight I'm just going to set you up with, because this is one we both have a prop on, is Trevor Peek against Yaya. So take it away with whatever your prop is here.
I mean, mine is no fun. It's just Peek by knockout plus 125.
You're allowed to have no fun.
Put a half unit on it. Look, my instinct was to fade Peek because we all love him. And the way he feints his standing hammer fist is the best thing ever. But Yaya's chin's going to be up in the air. It's just how he fights. He fights chin up, tall man's defense. He doesn't seem to handle pressure well from lesser opponents. I think Peek's going to be too much. To handle Peek, you got to be like a Chepe Mariscal who can throw him on the ground, or like a Malik Lewis who can ground him and make him stop. But I don't think Yaya can do it, so I think Peek's going to put him out at some point.
Okay, so I'm going to break this fight down further on the happy hour tomorrow. I won't make a huge breakdown here. I'm looking at, I think Trevor Peek knocks him the fuck out in like a minute and a half, like, if I'm being honest. But there's really not a lot of value on that. Like, and if you got Peek at whatever lying number that a lot of people say they got him, like, congratulations. But the flip side of this for me is very simple. I'm not saying Yaya pushes a pace like Mariscal. He doesn't. But what if this fight hits the second round? And what if this fight hits the third round? What does Peek look like? We already saw what he looked like in these fights. And, like, how much of it is him getting tired from grappling or him getting tired from just throwing these windmills? If this thing hits the scorecards, I can see some riggery. Yaya decisions, I see a plus 700 out there. I don't think Yaya finishes Peek. I don't know if Peek's finishable. I think if Yaya wins, it's by screwball decision. I just looked at that number and I'm like, and it's only going to go up as money continues to pour in on Peek. Look, I think Peek round 1 at a very high clip. I just have to look at the flip side and see if there's value. The way I'm going to break this down, I want to talk about this in the show tomorrow, is you can bet Peek round 1. And if you don't like what you see after 1, you're probably going to get a decent number on Yaya after 1. You might get 300. You might get more. I'm just going to suggest at least keep your eye out for that. Even, like, I mean, I know you have your read on Peek, but even you could agree if there's like some massive price on Yaya after 1 and you think Peek's starting to slow down, it's not worth, it's like it's worth a small hedge out of it. That's all.
I mean, I don't even think Yaya's bad, you know. I just think his defense doesn't play into Peek's well enough, and like his game, and he's okay, but his striking's more technical. He'll throw 1-2s, not flying hammer fists.
Yeah. So, all right, we've both covered that one. That's 2 props each. What is the third one? And I know that you and I have different fights going forward. He does have connects. That's another thing. I'm telling you, if this thing hits the scorecards, you know, riggery.
Yep. He's UAE champion, but I'm pretty sure they have two separate, like they have like the USA champions, and then they have like for the UAE, and like he's the champ there. So like I wouldn't be shocked, but
his tape is terrible. I'm making this very clear that I'm basing a plus 700 on a rigged decision. Like that's what I'm doing. And Peak's crappy cardio. But
I mean, the truth is Peak sucks too, right? I mean, Peak
he
is also
sucks.
terrible.
He sucks, but he has a place. Like he sucks, and like now they got to make sure they never match him up against a guy that wants to grapple. Like they may just give him the ghost pepper like 7 times in a row.
Nah,
like,
we all
just
know
keep fighting this guy.
The fight is already written. Peak versus McKinney.
Well, that's what friend of the show and former guest Mike's MMA Picks has said is going on his fridge.
It's been written.
It's been written. It will be. All right, next prop, buddy.
All right, yeah, I think this is a really good one. I'm not sure if my price is still there. So the prop is Victor Henry spread plus 3.5. Put him at plus 195. I thought that price was absolutely insane. And look,
I have the same bet. I don't have it for the show, but I have the same bet.
I think he can win this fight, man. Like, look, yeah, Basharat is a stud. I get it. And his brother looked really good, all of that. Not taking anything away. But if you're watching his fights, right? He's really good at range, and he's got that 60% striking defense, but it's when he's at range, and it's when he's able to keep it like far away, use his jab, use his front kicks, the teep kicks. Once they get close, Mendoza, Gravely, what happened? They were landing. They were landing on the guy. And not only that, they could take him down too. He's comfortable at range, and he's clean, and he's good in the clinch too. But up close, he doesn't seem to be that good. He doesn't seem to react as quickly. And he's a tall man. He's got that tall man's defense. He can be clipped. He can be hurt. And he does not seem like he's going to handle pressure well. He has to be able to be the one who's either leading or moving laterally. And if Victor's going to be cutting off the cage, which Victor usually does, and if Victor's coming in here with his
Victor De Jesus, by the way. Let me just stress that. Not Victor De Jesus.
I think this is going to end up being a really close and really tough fight. And I understand that Victor doesn't grapple all that much offensively. He hasn't in the UFC at all. In his regionals, he has sometimes. It's solid. But defensively, he's very good. And he's really good at scrambling. And his jiu-jitsu is really good. So if Basharat gets him down, not positive he can keep him there. Definitely don't think he's going to sub him. I know a lot of people like the overs and stuff. I think that makes sense. But it's kind of chalky, if I'm not mistaken. I'm considering Henry straight, but the 3.5, I mean, the plus 3.5 to me is a no-brainer. One round and don't get finished. I love it.
I love it too. It's funny. I wanted to give out Victor Henry's decision on the show. Did you see what his decision line is? It's literally the same as his money line. They're both plus 450. I'm like, well, there's no reason to do that then, I guess. I just want to add something. Just, it's not a prop.
Plus 700 on DraftKings.
Okay. It was plus. I looked on like Bet Online. It was plus 450 and plus 450. I was like, Jesus Christ. I just want to add something. And this is just kind of like a general rule of thumb. Hey, fellow engine member, Brady. Oi. That's the wrong guy. Sorry. Who's the better Basharat? I like both of them, to be honest. I like the skill set. I really like their fight IQ.
But I thought Javid, but I'm starting to maybe think it's the other one.
So if you look at like his money lines, just look at his money line history over the last like couple of fights. This is a dude that was like minus 200 against Oren Kalin, who missed weight and is terrible. And now he's minus 600 against the best guy he's ever faced. So I just want to bring up I'm not like the numbers guy. That's Wheezy's job. But some numbers really matter to me and stand out. And one that stands out the most is this. As a general rule of thumb, I don't want to bet a guy minus 600 if I feel he only has decision equity. To me, that's just, especially in a very like a volatile sport, like high volatility in this kind of, one-on-one sport. Basharat in his last 3 fights, 95 strikes landed, 80 strikes landed, 89 strikes landed. The 2 wins that Victor Henry had, 154 strikes landed, 181 strikes landed. There he is. Speak of the devil. There's Wheezy. Mention numbers, and here he is. if you're going to give me a guy who's going to double up the strikes, and I realize that Basharat can go to the wrestling here, but I think Henry's takedown defense is decent. If you're going to give me a guy that can throw double the strikes in a fight that's going to go the distance, I mean, neither guy's ever been finished. So I think the juiced over makes sense. Give me the guy who's going to have more volume, who's proven he can have this volume in the third rounds of fights too. So I love the Henry play here. I'm all with it. I just think it was funny that I looked for the decision prop and I'm like, what? Like, why would that be the same price? All right, I'm going to move on to the one everybody's going to hate and the one that's really stupid. But I can't remember getting a price like this on Johnny Walker and his KO at plus 600. Look, I hate Johnny Walker. He's cost me money, you know, in like soccer. You know, I bet soccer. You know, I'm like a big soccer gambler. I don't know if you guys do this when you watch like a sports league, but I have the no bet list and it just grows. I'm like, all right, leads, no bet list. And that means I don't want to bet games involve them. Not betting on them or against them. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have this list of teams. I'm like, fuck them, dude. I just can't get it right. This year it would be the Washington Commanders. I just cannot figure this team out. Johnny Walker is a guy I just have historically not figured out. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Ankalaev wins this fight more often than not. And the over 1.5 being minus 160 probably makes sense because I kind of feel like the first round might be a staring contest. He's low volume. But I think Walker still has more power. It's just, will he unleash it? He didn't really unleash it against Anthony Smith. Will he unleash it here? And what does it take for him to unleash it? So if Ankalaev is the one on the front foot actually landing punches, I kind of feel like maybe that would get out Savage Walker. Am I confident? No. But Walker's KO props historically have been like plus 150, plus one. Like they're nothing. They're shit. Now we're getting him plus 600. He hasn't lost any power. I think Ankalaev's durable, but this is his first fight in how long, dude? And what happened in his last fight? He was going to retire. He was disgusted. Like, does he have, like, is there a part of this where he's like, I don't care anymore. Like, I should be the champion? I don't know, dude. But I just think plus 600 for Walker's. I don't see. Do you think Walker has any decision equity here? I know he just wanted, like, I get it. He just won a decision. Do you think he has decision equity here? Because I don't.
He won a decision against a guy who thought he threatened his family in the middle of the fight.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So I don't think he has decision equity. So if you like him, the KO's plus 600. I don't think it's terrible. Ankalaev really hasn't shown like durability issues, but still, I mean, Walker's still got that power, man. I mean, I see GCQ's got the sub against Kudiyaba, you know, and like, dude, again, I get it. This is a play on the number. If you've ever seen the show, when you watch my show tomorrow, I'm picking Ankalaev to win, but we're playing numbers here with some of these props. So like, look, plus 600 for a prop that's traditionally been so low. I got to take a stab on it. You can hate it all you want. I just got to take a stab on it.
I can't blame you at all.
Also, it'll be hilarious if it happens. Like, you know it'll be hilarious. Anybody that has Walker is going to be like, he's back!
If we get a knockout, it'll be hilarious either way, because either it's Walker getting a funny knockout or Walker getting knocked out and looking like a...
Yeah, his eyes are going to bulge out. And he's going to... Right. He's like, every time he's been finished, it's kind of... I mean, I hate to say it like this. It's been hilarious. But... Well, all right, we got one more prop each. What do you got for your last prop before we get to the main event?
Yeah, so this one's not like widely available yet. I haven't even played it. I'm deciding if I want to parlay it or just hit it straight because it's chalk. This isn't.
It is money. Called to consider.
Yeah, so I'm considering how to play it. I'm definitely going to. Dumas, Azaitar fight doesn't go to decision on many books is minus 200, minus 210. That is, to me, that's insane. And the only reason that is happening is because of the Dumas-Brundage fight. But styles make fights. And Brundage tried to wrestle, did his guillotine thing, all of that. Azaitar's not going to do that. He's going to run out there.
You don't need to remind me about the Brundage fight.
I lost there too, buddy. I lost there
too. That's my soul died a little bit on that fight.
I lost faith. But styles make fights, and I think that Azaitar is going to go for the kill. And he's really good in the first round. I almost picked him straight here, but I can't because I'm about to say it. He falls off a cliff. similar to what I was saying with Warley Alves, but even harder. I mean, he's just like done. It's because he throws a lot of output. Maybe this time he's going to come in and throw less, but I doubt it. He's 37 years old. Based off his Instagram, it doesn't really seem like he's training much. He's been out for a minute ever since the potato fiasco and when he got finished by Marc-Andre Barriault. I just feel like I don't see him making it. And then Dumas, he can get finished too. He's liable to get knocked out. He's got that tall man's defense. Or I think he can finish it late on the ground or on the feet. So I really like fight doesn't go, and I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah, I like it. I just want to say that I want to see what happens on the scale before I do anything on this. I knew that, like, Dumas didn't do much against Cody. And then I had to go back and look. So he didn't have any takedowns. Brundage just fell to the ground. You know how many strikes Dumas threw landed on that fight?
32, I think, something
17,
like that.
17. About one a minute. Now, there's no threat of the wrestling here. I know people say Azaitar has a grappling path. A guy that hasn't fought in 5 years, that wasn't in shape last time he fought, and is 38, is probably not grappling a lot in this fight. I'm just going to take a guess. He's probably not going to expend his cardio trying to grapple. So, yeah, I can't get to Dumas this number. I don't know if I ever want to bet this fucking dude. But if Azaitar looks like he's on some asparagus, and this line just keeps getting wider, I might play the Azaitar KO here. But let me get to my last prop. I debated doing Naimov round 1, but, like, honestly, I don't like it. Do you have a bet on Naimov?
Parlayed Saeed. I think he's going to sub him, but it's
No,
not worth
Naimov would.
Oh, Naimov would. I have Wood in a cross card parlay to finish it off for a unit. And I got him at minus 275, so it's not as criminal.
Well, can I sell you on a plus 1,400 and a plus 1,600 with round 2 and round 3 submissions for Wood? Do I think he's going to take Naimov down? I don't know. He's got nice trips. Wood's got good grappling, and he's got submissions. The problem is he's been falling in love with the striking. Now, Just Win Baby, Rich from, him and Pepe. I like listening to those guys. And Rich brings up a good point that I've thought too. He probably shouldn't be at 145. He should probably be a 135 pounder. And it's the way he said, he goes, I don't think his durability is bad more than I think the fact that he's up at 145 is making his durability look bad. So obviously he's got a minus P's and Q's. But I also think Naimov sucks. I thought he sucked before the Malarkey fight. And I bet him because I've been fading Malarkey. Well, I've been fading Malarkey for like forever. Or I just make some weird bets in his fights. Like last fight, I took McDessie plus 3.5. And I had the money line poke. Before that, I had, famously, I had the Malarkey decision when the whole fucking community was on the under against the Prado fight. And I'm like, dude, we don't know if Prado is and then thank God Malarkey decided, you know what? I love when people think it's a boring fight in the 3rd round, but Mike, you're holding the decision ticket. You're like, you lay on him until a ref tells you otherwise, man. And as soon as you get stood up, you put him right back on his ass. And if he can't do anything about it, just get me my decision ticket, dude. So anyway, I do think that Wood's going to have a cardio advantage, and Naimov's cardio is bad. I really feel like this line should be wider, and we're getting this line as close as it is because skill for skill. I don't know where Naimov's better other than like one punch power. He's got him covered nowhere. He's a little bigger, but not like so much bigger. But we're getting this because of the Malarkey fight. So I think if Wood wants to take him down, it might only take one takedown and he could end the fight. So I don't think it happens early. I think it happens as the fight goes on. Round 2, round 3, plus 1,400, plus 1,600 for me for the sub props. Now watch him get a ground and pound. And I'm like, fuck. Because it's been happening to me lately with these round 1 KOs with like Uzdemir. And I had Volkov round 2 KO and he fucking gets a submission again. Like what the fuck is going on with these? What's going on with people that never have submissions? Like being like, oh, look, I'm 38 and I'm learning submissions. Like, what the fuck are you doing to me? Don't they know I bet the KO, Mike? Don't they know?
I'm going to have that problem this week, dude. I got Dudakova KO when it was plus 900. and now
Got
it's
bonked.
now the sub is cheaper. She's gonna sub her probably. Like I only played the KO because it was plus 900 and ground and pound exists, but like it got crazy.
The peak wood parlay. I don't know if I mean I love it. Like, you know, and Juicy's always coming up with good stuff in my chats. I don't know if I can say it's better than the loose cornhole zucchini parlay, but I don't know if I'm ever have a chance to do that again. I should have
You were
stayed.
so happy when that got closed.
Man, I should have like see, here's the problem. It's the lesson for all you people in the chat. Never get greedy with the zucchini, ladies and gentlemen. Be content with a loose cornhole and call it a day. Because when you throw the zucchini in there, all sorts of weird shit happens. There you go, Mike. I'm glad you came on the show to hear that one. We're going to talk about the main event. Islam Makhachev against Volkanowski. It's weird that there's not as much buzz about this as I thought with how good the first fight was. Maybe it's just because we didn't have time. It just kind of got thrown together. I understand that. Mike, where are you at with the main event?
I mean, honestly, I wrote in my notes for this prop, like, I don't really like anything. If I'm forced,
You don't
to
need
give
to have a goofy prop here. Just it's
no, I don't even have any kind of prop. Like the over, I guess. I know a lot of people are on the under. They think it's finally gonna happen. I don't really. I lean the over. So if I had to play a prop, it would be that, or maybe Volk by decision. I don't know what that's at because I know everything is stacked against him, but I have like a real gut feeling that Volk's actually going to pull this off this time. So it would be Volk decision or just the over for me.
425. Volk decision. You see this draw? I'm intrigued by it. That's not my prop for the show, but I'm always intrigued.
Draws should be higher, no? It's plus 66 on Bet Online.
Usually, oh really? Because usually across these books it's 5,000. Like FanDuel will have it at 6,600, but for the most part, 5,000. I'm gonna play this kind of strangely, and this is gonna sound like a weird. Like I said, I'm gonna break this down a little more tomorrow because this is not the pure breakdown show. I'll have more to say. So last time there were some moments in each fight. There were some moments. I mean, people are saying Makhachev never had Volkanovski hurt, but he had him in some really, really bad spots. Just didn't get the neck because Volk doesn't have a neck. Just couldn't maintain top control. I think that Makhachev on, more time to prepare in the Fuller camp could absolutely get a ground submission here. I don't think he gets a ground and pound on Volk, but I think he could get a submission. And also last time we saw Volk in the 5th round just have such a sense of urgency. He was going for it. How often do we get angry, Mike, when we have a guy who knows he has to get a finish in the 5th and just goes out there and screws around the first 2 minutes? Like his coaches are like screaming. Volk went out there from the 1st second of the 5th round. Was like, I got to get this guy out of here. Fight to end in the 5th round is plus 1,200. Doesn't matter who you take. If Volk's tired, Makhachev can get him out of there. If Makhachev's winning this fight again, Volk will pound him out. You don't care who wins, plus 1,200. If you wanted to play either guy, let's take a look. I don't even bother looking at this part because I don't. It's 1,800 for Makhachev. It's 3,500 for Volk. But I just think I think we're going to get a definitive winner here in the 5th round. Half gut, half based on what I saw last time. It's not even a cardio thing. It's that Volk now, I think everything's working against him, like you said. But if he's there in the 5th, he's going to give you 5 minutes of trying to knock the fucking head off Makhachev. So at 1,200, it's worth a poke for me. But anyway, we have come to the best part of the show, as far as I'm concerned. And that's the Yamag special. It's everybody's favorite. It's what's made this show just a cultural phenomenon all over the place. I know how I said it. If you guys are watching the show for the first time, number one, shame on you. Watch it every week. I put a lot of work into this. And number two, we are betting on a point deduction. And I think there's a few point deductions on this card that are funny. I actually had written down 3. But I chose one specifically, and I want to hear what you have to say, Mike. I don't think you're going to say mine, but if you do, I'll pivot to another one.
I have two, and I really want to say both.
Say both. Actually, you say one, I'll say one, then we'll go back and forth. We'll bounce the bags.
Okay, well, I think the easiest one is the Tim Elliott Makhachev fight.
Okay.
Makhayev's going to be shooting the entire time, and we just saw what Tim did with Tagiro and Bekov. I feel like it's bound to happen, and like I've never bet a point deduction before, and I think I'm going to this time because
you've never bet one.
The stats are there, you know.
Can you do them now on DraftKings in New York?
I think MGM.
Okay.
I think BetMGM. I think Prop told me once. I gotta look.
Yeah, they might not be 2,000, so just shop around because if you can shop around, I think Betway has them too. But
it's gonna be my first ever Yam Bags bet.
Yes, I love it. I am playing. One of my two is Alexander and Alves. Now, look, I don't typically like betting a Yam Bag fight in a fight that I think may go 7-8 minutes. It's not really something that fits the science that Weezy and I have concocted at the Yam Bag Institute. But you have Southpaw versus Orthodox. And man, just the way fucking Alvey throws kicks, dude. He's so wild. He's so reckless. And you could tell he gets tired doing them. Like with the Lazez fight, he didn't give two shits they were landed. He was just throwing them almost like with his eyes closed. Who's to say he can't crack Al-Selwady once in the sack? That could be like a fight ender, by the way. Like, you know, I know his chin got wrecked by Chimaev.
Is that cash? If it's like a no contest, does that cash the Yam Bags?
No. It's got to be the point. That's why it's 20-1. But that's one of mine that I liked. And it fits the model. I don't like the fact that the fight under 1.5 is juiced. So like it's the only thing I don't like about it. But what's your other one? Because my other one has nothing to do with lefty versus righty. Finally, somebody understands. Thank you, Big Steve, for attending the 1-year anniversary of the show.
Big Steve,
it's my other son.
Lou, your son is high. You would be too if you were in my position right now. All right, Steve.
I don't think they have weed in Australia. Sorry.
Steve just drinks this funky stuff to get drunk instead. But my
next
TM, what was that?
That's smart. I drink funky stuff to get drunk too. It's called whiskey, which
He's
you
definitely
hate.
Not drinking whiskey.
Scotch.
But for my other one, the Shara fight. All this dude does is throw kicks nonstop. I mean, if he's throwing like 50 kicks, what are the odds a few might hit the soft spot, you know? I think that's a pretty good one. And also, if he finally wrestles, I can see Bruno grabbing the fence a bunch. So there you go. 2 angles.
That's such a meme fight that meme fights are always like in the running. I don't have much of an explanation for this last one. I'm just going to say the Dumas Azaitar fight because Dumas looks like the kind of dude that enjoys kicking another man in the sack as hard as possible if things aren't going his way. So there's nothing more to that one. I just think I look at him and a 38-year-old that hasn't fought in years and be like, he could be looking for an easy way out of this too.
Nah, they're gonna throw Azaitar a literal bag of yams, pull up with the potatoes.
Be tremendous. It's the content I'm here for. But anyway, we have reached the end of the program. I told you 40 minutes. And we're at the 39-minute mark. So that's pretty darn good. I would like to thank Mike for, again, taking the reins when I was on my break, for throwing me the show back when I didn't want it, because he's such a good son, as Big Steve said, and for all the good work that Mike does growing his brand, all the regional tape he does. He's one of the best. I would say he's better than Big Steve at the regionals just because Big Steve.
Steve is going to trip. Steve's gonna trip off that one.
Steve, don't kick me out of the Discord. Mike, tell the people where you are and what you're working on. I know you have a busy week, and you have a big show tomorrow too.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, I mean, the week's pretty much over. Last night, I went live with our guy Tim Troiano on my channel. Broke down the card from the bottom up, full breakdowns. Check that out. Tim is really dope. Love doing shows with him. I dropped all of my shorts before we went live. So if you only want to listen for 1 minute for each fight, there you go. That's up. And tomorrow, the pay-per-view panel is back. every week. I've been doing a pay-per-view panel for months now with my guy Patrick, Addicted to Combat. He's got other stuff going on now. He can't do it. So unfortunately, yeah. But he's doing good stuff, so good for him. Tyler will be replacing him, 138 MMA. If you guys don't know him from Twitter, on YouTube, he's the guy with the whiteboard. He's super dope, owns his own gyms. He knows what he's talking about. So he's going to be a lot of fun to be as a co-host with. And we'll be joined by our own Uncle Wheezy and Lucrative MMA. That'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun, so pull up. And thanks for having me on as always, Lou.
Banger show tomorrow. Check that out, guys. I have the happy hour tomorrow at midnight. I don't know if we're running counter to each other. Nobody cares about our show anyway. That's fine. This is the big one that I care about. I have a lot of my schedule for this show features a lot of cool people. Just so you guys know, 138 MMA will be on soon. Effie and the Action Cast will be on soon. Blood Money's coming on for a pay-per-view. I forget who the fuck else I have. We will end the year though. The last show of the year will be the entire gang at this network. It will be Monk, Brady, and Wheezy. You'll do a 4-man panel for props for the last pay-per-view of the year. So that should be pretty cool. He ain't tripping, he says. And that's it, guys. No show next week. We're off. And check out, if you guys bet NFL, check out what I did with Wiz this week. We do a show each and every week where he gets bets right by doing nothing. And I actually break down the games. And it's a great tandem how that works out. But he's just going to bet first half team totals and he wins all of them. He has the luck of, I can't say what I was going to say on air. I'll say it afterwards. Guys, take care. Good luck this weekend, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.